If you've been paying attention to what's going on in Nepal or what has happened in Nepal, they're successful now, alhamdulillah. You may have noticed there was a picture of a One Piece flag and a building in the background on fire, which was extremely symbolic. Now, if you know anything about One Piece, you understand the sentiment when it comes to corrupt governments taking advantage of their power and treating humans as a means to orchestrate their evil, for the sake of their own selfishness and power and greed. Um, it's purely a commentary on the world that we live in, and Oda does a fantastic job articulating that. Now, I was sitting here actually reading the manga, and it touched on something that was, as a black person who is somewhat aware of history and how it affects people, maybe not as much as I should, bro. Like, the way that he articulates injustice and how it affects people, and how he gives examples of what leaders should do in certain situations, and even what people who feel betrayed should do in certain situations. Now, if I can, it's a couple pages in front of this. So it goes into a flashback, and then in chapter 621, Otohime and Tiger, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, here it is. Can I flip the camera? Perfect. So it says, we now go back in time, we have a thief. So basically what this is you can read it on your own time. Since I've already read it, I can explain it. This is a thief who was brought to this horrible decision by a dire situation that is directly the responsibility of the government, in which they failed. So you see him here with this woman. This guy is rightfully desiring, his belongings. They were stolen from him, and he has a gun. So one of the, what do you call it? Like the honor, what do you call those people in high society or whatever? Like one of the high society people, right? Forgive my ignorance. Damn! I just closed the book. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. It's honestly amazing how he was able to take in all this information and be able to, display it so accurately. So what's going on here is this high-ranking individual, high-status individual who's connected to like the government and whatnot. What she does is she sees somebody doing wrong, immediately holds them accountable, and is not okay with, and is not afraid of, sorry, I'm mixing my words, but she's not afraid of being looked at as, the enemy and whatnot. She's still going forward with what she feels is right. So she holds them accountable by slapping them. And then on the flip side, okay, her hand hurts. This is signifying that, or I think this is signifying that she's not meant for all of this, like being harsh to people, and you'll see why, right? She says she doesn't care because she understands what her purpose is. Now, okay, the queen, I said high ranking. She is the queen, okay? She challenges him. She says, why would you do something as senseless as robbery? Shut up, you royals all wallow. Shut up, you royals wallow in luxury. What do you know about the hardships of life? I got 10 kids to feed. That is so important, and it is extremely overlooked by the right. They like to, act like they think logically, but they forget to appeal to their own emotion. And it seems, it looks like the left also has some trouble with that extreme of just focusing on appealing to emotion all the time and ignoring logic. What her character does is she is a balance between both of them. She can display her emotions and also use her logic to interact with people and have a better effect on them. And like, she communicates in a way that's easy to understand, and she's not afraid of being vulnerable. That leaves a lasting impression on people. And the government will never take the time to to address all of those issues for us. It's easier and more convenient for them to continue to be evil. So That's all the more reason. And they still keep on egging her on, telling her this is not good for you, but she knows her purpose. She doesn't listen to that. She knows they have a point, but she knows what she's supposed to do, and she accepts her burden. Now, she gives him a very good point to think on. Do you think your children want to be raised on stolen money? You mustn't force your children to live a life of shame. But I owe you an apology too. What she just did there was she introduced him back to his humanity, holding him accountable while also holding herself accountable. What is she apologizing for? You are my subject and I failed to notice your pain. I promise you, at least this is my opinion, in this country, we have a long way to go before the country ever gets to a stage like this. Anyway, we move. The cry for help from your heart cuts deep inside me. Oh, you must have suffered dreadfully to be driven to this. That's empathy. Government, take notes. Oh, I didn't want to do it, but I had no choice. My shop burned down. It was arson. My money was stolen. There weren't any jobs. My debt keeps piling up and my kids were hungry. I couldn't bear to see them like that. This holds so much weight. You have to be aware to understand what this means. Like, his shop burned down. His way of life was interrupted and halted violently in a traumatic fashion. It was arson. It was intentional. That's what that means. My money was stolen. He was betrayed. There weren't any jobs. Nobody gave him help. My debt kept piling up and my kids were hungry. AKA my problems kept growing and I had nothing to do. I had nobody to help me and I had no means of, no easy means to solve that problem. So the problems are increasing and his kids are getting hungry. He has to take action, unfortunately. Unless somebody is there to coach him through the situation, it's only natural he will make a mistake. He's a human being. I couldn't bear to see them like that, of course. And here, now she's doing her job. It's not too late. She still caught it she nipped it in the bud. But you can't steal. If you do, you're part of the vicious cycle, the chain of misfortune and wrongdoing. She apologizes. Still. Or no, actually, that's him apologizing. So even the victim is acknowledging where they went wrong in this situation. It's very important for us, to not take things overly personal. And I know, it's a part of the journey to do that. You have to, it's the pendulum swings from one side to the other. So, of course, I'm not mad at people for being on their journey, but I'm just trying to point out, so we could be more aware. And then the queen says, but I'm sorry, it's our fault as your leaders for failing you. I didn't deserve so much compassion, really. Now that's him. He thinks he don't deserve so much compassion, but he's not knowing he does. He needed that. So, boom, I've had to change her heart. Boom, she fixed the situation by doing all that she did, by being vulnerable, by being empathetic and recognizing their problems. And so did the victim. They both played their part. This is an example of what we should be doing. Thank you for crying for me, Your Majesty, aka thank you for recognizing me, for empathizing with me. You're welcome. So I'm encouraging y'all, man. I promise, no matter how many times you've been shown or you've perceived that nobody cares for you, this system doesn't care for you, the people who are part of it don't care for you. What that is a way of thinking that is natural for us to come to, but it's dangerous for us to stay at. We have to understand that we can't stay that way forever. We have our reasons to think that way. It's valid. I'm not invalidating anybody's feelings, but we have to be willing to grow. So this is why we see the One Piece flag in Nepal, because the people were consuming the media, recognized parallels between the media and their real life, took actions, and used that as a symbol to show the world this is where we got it from. Of course, it's amazing.